New York Times senior political correspondent Maggie Haberman will be at the Trump team's election watch party tonight in West Palm Beach, Florida. She joins me now. Maggie, what are you hearing from within the campaign? How confident are they?
Look, they're projecting a lot of confidence, Anderson. I think that there's some anxiety below the surface. They've gotten less certain in the last couple of days. Part of that is because Donald Trump has had a very rough closing over the last 10 days, as we have seen. And part of that is because Democrats are projecting more optimism. In some specific battleground states, Republicans have not seen voters of their own necessarily coming out in numbers that they wanted. However, they point to these early vote totals where just by pure registration, Republicans are doing better than Democrats, and they suggest that that's going to be decisive. But, you know, they don't know. And they are coming into this election with Trump in a better position polling-wise, as his campaign often points out, than he has in his last two. But it's very hard to account for what has happened in the last 10 days after the Madison Square Garden rally, which most of them now acknowledge was a debacle.
When you look at Trump's closing message, I'm not sure if it is a closing message necessarily or just a continuation of stuff he's been saying, insulting Democrats. We, played a clip of him calling Nancy Pelosi a bitch several times late last night, calling them evil, pushing again unfounded claims of cheating, widespread cheating already going on. It's clearly not what his campaign, I assume, wanted.
No, and you can see on his aides' faces when he goes off script and off teleprompter how stressful it is for them, because he could be saying anything. It's like watching a car driving and swerving around the road. In terms of what he said about Nancy Pelosi, that's what he was privately saying about Kamala Harris when she first got into the race. To a number of people around him. What we have seen over time is he is saying more of these things publicly. It was pretty dramatic that at a rally a couple of days ago, he talked about how he shouldn't have left the White House at the end of his term, despite having lost and despite another president being certified in his Electoral College victory, and musing about shooting reporters. I mean, this is just not, we are used to him saying things that are well outside the political norm. Most candidates don't do that in their closing days, and he typically has not done that in his closing days of his previous two campaigns. We'll see what effect it has.
Harris campaign officials have warned they believe Trump will, like he did in 2020, declare victory early before all the votes are counted. Obviously, in 2020, he was lying. He lost. Is that something Trump's team believes will happen again?
The Trump team is hoping that is not going to happen. I think the bigger question, and who knows with Donald Trump what he's going to do, I think the bigger question is what do Trump allies do on social media tonight, and that's something to watch for.
All right. Maggie Haberman, thanks very much. Minnesota Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar is going to be joining me. She's campaigning on behalf of Kamala Harris. Senator Klobuchar is also up for re-election today. Senator, good morning. Good to see you. Polls have been open for almost 4 hours. Where you are, how are you feeling about the vice president's chances this morning?
Very positive. She ended this campaign on such a high note, which is going to, I believe, take her right into the White House. Unity, optimism, joy. And Donald Trump, to me, he has just been spiraling down. I note that he claims at the end to be appealing to women, and then he calls a woman leader the B word. Somehow he decided yesterday to get into fluoride after the man he claimed he wanted to put in as HHS secretary said that he wanted to limit fluoride or get rid of fluoride in drinking water. So I guess he's ending with more cavities. He has continued to deny the election results, and what you just said there and your reporter just reported on. 97% of jurisdictions in America have backup paper ballots, and the only ones that don't are some counties in, I think, Texas and Louisiana. So I just see this as a campaign spiraling.
It's nuts, this constant referencing to not having paper ballots. Even Dominion voting machines have paper ballots. I mean, there are backup paper ballots. As you said, it's just not the case. It's a very strange thing that he continues to lie about.
So what I see is just this excitement out there, and I've seen it when I've campaigned in states for our senators, including Bob Casey and Sherrod Brown and Tammy Baldwin. Alyssa Slotkin is a great candidate. She's going to win this, and Ruben Gallego and Jackie Rosen, and you see John Tester. Never count out John Tester and what's happening in Texas and Florida. This, I predict, when you look at some of what's going on under the surface with, millions and millions of doors knocked just this weekend, like 3 million. Women are voting in droves. You have a lot of women and men who have had it, their democracy voters. They don't want to have this assault on our democracy. And then you have people that don't want to see the chaos in their businesses. They don't want to see this $4,000 tax per family. They're worried about some of his economic proposals. And they mostly don't want chaos with their employees and everything else. I just think there is this thing boiling under the surface because people are coming up to me all the time in diners and airports and saying, I'm a conservative, I can't vote for him. That's what you're going to see show up. And they may not be answering polls, but she is doing so well, and I think there's a good reason to be confident, but only if we vote. Everyone, I'm not talking about you there, everyone in the country has to get out and vote, even if it means lines. You stand in lines for tons of things and coffee every day. People can stand in line to vote because this is our duty as Americans.
Senator Klobuchar, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Let's show you some of these new images we have. This is Philadelphia. These are lines, this particular line stretching 4 blocks, as our photojournalist is showing you. Harris, of course, needs a very strong turnout in Philadelphia and the must-win state of Pennsylvania. In North Carolina, let's show you some images there from that crucial battleground state. Voters telling CNN they have never seen anything like the lines they've seen today. And by the way, just something to consider, this is after you could early vote for 10 days, 2 weeks in some of these cases, and still this turnout. We'll see what it all portends, but just a short time ago, both Harris and Trump had a message for voters.
We got to get it done. Today is voting day, and people need to get out and be active.
It's been very honored to find out that the lines are long, and the conservative lines, the Republican lines, are very long. I hear we're doing very well.
And now the first polls closing in just 6 hours. As for the all-important battleground states, Georgia is first. Polls there close at 7 p.m. Eastern. 30 minutes later, polls will close in North Carolina. At 8 p.m. Eastern, Pennsylvania polls will close. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona will close. Finally, at 10 p.m. Eastern, Nevada will close its polls. And of course, as we're watching all of the returns come in, we're watching specifically the 2 candidates race to try to cross that 270 Electoral College threshold. We have a team of reporters standing by from the crucial battleground states to the campaign headquarters, and we just showed you the very long lines in Philadelphia. And I want to go to Danny Freeman. He's on the ground for us right now. He's live in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Danny, tell our viewers, what are things like where you are?
Well, if I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of energy out here right now. We're in Lancaster County. It's kind of in the central part of the state right here. We're in Millersville specifically, and we're at a polling place which is a funeral home right here. But nevertheless, people are excited to be voting. We're actually very close to a university, Millersville University, so there are a lot of students who are kind of coming out right at this immediate lunch rush, let's say. So I'm going to see if maybe some of these folks might want to chat with us. Are you a first-time voter? Yeah. Would you want to chat with us for a second? So we're live on CNN right now. My name is Danny. What's your name?
Savannah.
Savannah. Savannah, tell me, what's bringing you out here today?
It is time for a change.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just here for women's rights and stuff like that, and just I don't really like to talk about it like in depth that much.
Sure. Are you a first-time voter?
I voted in not a presidential. I'm a first-time presidential voter.
Tell me, how are you feeling about voting in your first presidential election?
I'm a little scared, but it's exciting. I mean, it's definitely surreal almost to just like be here, you know, be able to do this. I'm excited to be able to have a voice and stand up for what I believe in. And
would you mind sharing who you're going to vote for in there?
Kamala
Harris.
Yes.
Did you ever expect to be casting your first vote in a presidential election at a funeral home?
No.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Really, remind me your name one more time.
Savannah.
Savannah. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. So again, that's kind of some of the stuff that we're seeing out here, especially in this particular voting spot. Like I said, Wolf, because it is so close to this university. But I'll note here that right here in Lancaster County, this is actually the largest red state really in Pennsylvania, and that it's one of the largest red counties in Pennsylvania. It's gone for former President Trump twice before, but we're watching it closely because Democrats are trying to make a play, at least to close that margin as much as they can here. So seeing the results here in Lancaster County, that may be indicative of just how close the Commonwealth ultimately is when we see these results. Wolf, I'll pass it back to you.
All right, Danny Friedman, thank you very much, and thanks, Savannah, for us as well.